So I find this really amazing. I am sitting here going through beliefs and working through things that I feel that I'm gonna talk to you about here in a second. And I wanted to make a video. I wanted to talk about it, and so I pulled out my deck and I cut it. And I knew that the card I cut it that I cut it to cutted. I knew the card that I cut it to was gonna be the one that I chose to record for the video, and so I pulled it out and it was the Chariot. I just cut it and it was right there, the Chariot. And then I had the box sitting here and I flipped it over and I didn't even realize that the Chariot is also on the bottom of the box. So double Chariot here for this message that I'm giving you guys, this video that I'm making. That's pretty profound to me, but I'm sure a lot of other people would be like, who cares? Well, to me that's a pretty big deal. So the Chariot is about movement. It's about fast action, something happening very quickly. It's a Cancerian energy, so it's about trying to get control of emotions, and that's also really interesting to me because of what I wanted to speak about during this video and what I was actually doing when I decided to make this video, which is that very thing. So you are in control of your own reality in the way that your vibration and your thoughts and your feelings are a huge part of what you manifest as you move forward. And we hold a lot of limiting beliefs that have been created throughout our life based on the things that we have experienced. So I was going through some stuff, and I wanted to share with you guys the process for anybody who is interested, if this helps anyone. Just to hear about my process and how it is for me. So I have been I'm facing possible changes of plan. Okay, so I realized that I was feeling anxious. I had an anxiety that I could feel in the background of me. Okay, so I sat down and I tried to figure out where it was coming from. I was trying to figure out if it was my inner child, but it wasn't my inner child. My inner child is my personal inner child is very young. My inner child is like 3. My inner child is a baby. And she was hiding, very like in shock, very scared, but very quiet. And another aspect of me that it's sort of like the parent aspect that we have, except for that mine is very stunted. So your parent aspect is supposed to be mature and is supposed to be like the age of a parent, which would be maybe anywhere between 18 and whatever, 25, 30, somewhere around there, okay? but my parent aspect is very stunted, so it's like it is like a child essentially, maybe like a 9-year-old, 8 or 9-year-old maybe. And so I never realized that about myself before, and that aspect of me was very, that was where all that anxiety was coming from. So I realized it was also connected to survival, like a survival instincts, like something is changing. I'm not sure if there's danger. There could be danger, and what what needs to happen for protection. So I started to explore that inner aspect, my parent aspect that's all fucked up because it's traumatic and it's so young. I was thinking, why is that part of me so young? Well, that part of me is so young because my childhood was very abusive. And I know that probably both of my parents get very angry when they hear me say this, but it's the truth. My childhood was very abusive, and I don't give a fuck if they want to hear about it or not. If either of you are watching this and you don't want to hear about my abusive childhood, don't fucking watch this. Because my childhood was abusive. And I'm not going to lie about it just because they want me to make them feel better about some fucked up shit that they did to me. So I started to explore that aspect of myself. Why is that part of myself so stunted? Well, it's because my parents weren't there. That part of me was like told me, like I just looked into it, like why are you, what's going on? And I just, I heard from that aspect of myself, well, when I needed them to be there, they weren't there. When I needed to be able to depend on them, they weren't there. It was like having to be like an adult as a child because I had to figure out ways to take care of myself and my brother and keep us safe when my parents didn't do it. And I realized it's attached to a problem that I have with manifestation and even with believing that God has my back, even though that God has shown me and does, his very best to show me that he has my back. I have all of these beliefs and all of this trauma attached to my parents, and so I tapped into it and I just let all of the thoughts and the feelings come out. It was like letting that part of myself speak. And what I heard was like, you knew, like my parent, all of this was directed at my parents. Like you knew that school ended at this time, but you still chose to come pick me up an hour later just because you wanted to. You knew that me and my brother needed certain things for school or clothes or supplies or whatever at a certain time, but you didn't care. You knew that smoking around us was going to hurt us. You didn't care. You knew that insulting us and being overly critical and tearing us down was going to fuck us up. You didn't care. You knew that trying to force us to be terrified of the world was going to fuck us up. You didn't care. You knew that we needed a certain amount of money or a certain type of thing for a field trip, but you didn't care. You knew that we needed proper socialization with other children in a healthy environment for us to be healthy individuals, but you didn't care. You knew that you were doing things that were hurting us on purpose, and you didn't care. You knew that we needed you. You knew that we needed a safe environment, but you didn't care. And so all of this, this all came out of me, and I'm still feeling it. I still feel the anger. I still feel the part of me that wants justice. I still feel the part of me that as a child wanted to literally murder my fucking parents because I was always so afraid. Because I was so I was so neglected, because I was neglected, because I wasn't taken to the doctor when I needed to be. I showed signs. I'm fucking ADHD, and that wasn't even picked up until I took myself to college 2 years ago when I was fucking 39 years old. That should have been found. I should have been taken to the doctor. There were things that should have been done for me that was never done. Things that I needed. I needed parents. I still need my parents, but they're still not there. I needed those things as a child. I needed a safe environment. I needed an environment that I wasn't terrified of because of all of the turmoil, because of all of the chaos, of all of the fighting, and all of the things that were so unsafe. I needed those things, and those things weren't there. And my parents still fuck with me. And they still want to try to pry their way into my life and try to make me feel like there's something wrong with me for expressing the fact that the things that I went through as a fucking child was not okay. It's the elephant in the room. It's the huge fucking secret. Let's just pretend my child was okay. Let's just pretend I did an okay job as a parent, because I don't want to deal with the fact that I didn't do a good job. That my children are all fucked up and it's my fault. And I don't know to what extent my parents have retaliated against me. Both of them have done fucked up shit to me, even as an adult. Seriously, fucked up shit. And I'm just supposed to be okay with that. And they still try to wield some sort of fucking control and fear tactics against me, even as a fucking adult. You better pretend like you love me and I was the parent of the year, or you're gonna regret it. Even fucking still. And it's not okay. And that fucked me up in a major way. And it is still in there, affecting all of my manifestations. There is still a part inside of me that is afraid of being happy, that is afraid of manifesting a life that is filled with joy, because in the past, as an adult, when I got close to that, my parents swooped in and fucking made sure that I lost everything. And they took turns tag teaming me with that shit. As a child, I would get abused, fucking yelled at, screamed at, insulted, hit. When I was laughing, when I was just playing and being happy. That shit seriously fucked me up. And when I had to go into the world on my own when I was 18, because the dysfunction in my house was too much for me to fucking handle, I was not only not prepared to be an adult, But I was a fucking mess. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to do anything. I wasn't taught anything. I was never taught how to clean. I was never taught how to do any chores. I wasn't even allowed to get food out of my own fucking refrigerator as a child. I didn't know how to use a washer or a dryer. Didn't know how to fucking do dishes. I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't even know how to drive. I didn't know how to handle money. I didn't know how to take care of myself. And I was coming out of an environment where I was literally terrified and treated like lower than a piece of fucking trash every day. And even still, I have a horrible time accepting the idea of actually being respected and loved and wanted and being safe. Because those things were such a foreign idea, a foreign reality. It's not okay if your daughter is suicidal by the time she's 16 years old and has a motherfucking suicide plan and tells you about it and you do nothing. So, all of these things are still inside of me. And I turned into a drug addict because I didn't know how to handle any of it. I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't know what to do. And it's almost been a year since I've been sober. And I am realizing that these are all the reasons that I was an addict. I'm realizing how potent all of this shit was. That I have been pretending my entire life that I'm okay, that everything was okay. Everything's fine. No, everything's fine. No, everything's fine. Because that was what my parents wanted me to say. No, everything's fine. Because that was what my survival instinct had to say, just to get through, just to keep me sane. No, everything's fine. But things weren't fine. And the things that I've went through were not fine. Being raped is not fine. Losing everything that I ever owned in the fucking world is not fine. Being treated like I'm some sort of fucking sociopathic villain by people who I love, including people who aren't even my fucking parents, is not fine. The types of people that I have manifested into my life who treat me like trash because it's the fucking vibration that I have held since my fucking abusive childhood, that's not fine. Me carrying around anger, murderous anger, my entire fucking life for the injustice that I experienced for the first 18 years of my life is not fine. Me having bad health and having a hard time with my weight and having a hard time with different aspects of my physical body because it's my mental and spiritual and emotional issues that are going untreated are manifesting themselves in a physical way just to be fucking screamed to be looked at is not fine. And I am not the only one. There are millions of people in this world who are just like me. They have a little bit of a different story, but they're just like me. And they're good people. And they got treated like fucking trash. And they stumble upon people like Abraham Hicks and Bashar and The Secret, and they hear, you manifest your reality, and they're like, what the fuck? How am I manifesting such a shitty life because I don't like it? And they don't understand. I didn't understand for a long time, and it's still hard for me to grasp it. It's the vibration, and your vibration wasn't necessarily created in a way that you wanted it to be created as a child because you were a fucking child. When you are a child, the natural order of things is that you have parents who love you and take care of you and look out for you and encourage you to have a positive, healthy vibration. But if you're on the flip side of that, where you're literally living with the fucking enemy, your vibration is all fucked up. And it isn't like you just get away from those people and just like at the snap of a fucking finger, your vibration is different. It doesn't work that way. So it's all connected, and it's a process. For years and years and years and years, and even still it's a problem for me. I didn't believe that God loved me. It's still a fucking problem for me. Even when there are people who come into my life and they do legitimately love me, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Fuck, you love me. Okay. All right. You're eventually gonna show me that you don't. Because my own parents didn't. And, you ask them, oh, she's this and she's that and fuck that little bitch and she's just a liar and she was spoiled and she had everything handed to her. Okay. That's the fucking problem. No. My parents did not love me. They didn't. Now, I can use, the part of myself that is, that can say, oh, that I've learned, oh, well, your parents loved you the best that they could because of how they love themselves and all this. Fuck all that shit. Because the part of me that is seriously fucking pissed off about the fact that my parents didn't fucking love me needs some sort of a fucking outlet. Because that part of me is still fucking pissed. That part of me still fucking wants redemption. That part of me wants answers. That part of me wants a fucking explanation as to why my fucking parents didn't love me. As to why millions of other motherfucking people's parents didn't love them. And then there could be the flip side. All the people, oh, shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to hear about that. That's in the past. Man, fuck you. If you're one of those motherfuckers and you happen to be watching this video, click the fuck off, bitch. Because fuck you. That means you're probably out there abusing somebody right fucking now, and you don't want to fucking hear about it. Abusers don't want to hear about their abuse. It matters. And it's a process. So it is important, I feel, to let this out in any way that you can that is healthy, for you to explore these parts of you if you are struggling. Because if you went through fucked up shit, you probably are. And I'm glad that I'm looking at Double Chariot in front of me, because this is fast, deliberate, fortuitous movement away from some fucking shit that I don't need anymore. That I don't want anymore. Any motherfucker who is blood related to me, who is watching my motherfucking channel, I'm telling you right now, you better click the fuck off, unsubscribe, and never fucking watch me again. And I'm telling you right now to do it. That is a fucking command. Get the fuck out of my life and stop watching my fucking shit. And if you continue to fucking do it after I have just now told you not to, you will suffer your own fucking karma for that shit. I think that you've hurt me enough. And I think that I deserve to be happy. And I don't deserve to feel your fucked up energy coming towards me any longer. This right here, galloping the fuck away from you, is what the fuck I need.